Well, hello and welcome. I've got the coolest project for this Hugs and Stitches. Something simple that we can all do. Can you see this book? Do you see this little whatever it is here right here? This is a little bookmark, okay? And this is what it looks like. Isn't that cool? It's fabric and a piece of paper that's printed out right there and says comfort. But this little bookmark is a page over bookmark in the fact that it slips over the page. Okay, that's all it does, is it just slips over the page. And it coolly marks our place. And it is so simple to do. And it's made with scrap paper and scrap fabric. And it's just so doable. Let's look at the parts and pieces and how we could put this together. As I said, it's a flip over page. I had some of these cut off of other projects that I was doing. I had several of them, and I thought, I want to do something with this. What could I do in the Hugs and Stitches that I could do with something like this? It's too good a paper to throw away. And I remember I made flip overs when I was making junk journals to go over my pages. And you could do that with it too if you had junk journal friends or whatever. But for our Hugs and Stitches, something that we can give to somebody that has stitches in it, where the stitches represent hugs. Now this is all machine stitched on here, but every stitch is a hug, whether it's hand stitched or machine stitched, crocheted, knitted, whatever. If it's a stitch, it's a hug. And so how did I put this together? Well, I have first of all, I have the piece itself, and it can be whatever width and size you have. I just used what I had here, but let me see, this is about 2.5, I believe, by 5.5, 2.5 by 5.5 for this particular one here. Then I took and I cut a piece that was just a little bit smaller. You see how it's just a little bit smaller all the way around, because I wanted to create a flip over to where the stitching on the back didn't show. It was also capable of being a little place to write if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to write a note or anything with it. Just whatever you wanted to do with that, or you wanted to do some extra designing or whatever. And so the piece that I made on the front, I wanted to go on a different piece and then glue it down. And so that's what I did, okay? So I started with this one, which is just cut off of a piece of cardstock that I folded long ways and then cut the strip, okay? Then I cut half of that and cut it down so it's just a little bit smaller. And then what I did was I took just a piece of fabric that was a little bit bigger than this, okay, so that it completely covered this, but just a ooch bigger around the edges. Then I took a piece of batting and I put that on there like that, so to give me a little bit of raise and a little bit of cushion there. And I just took some torn scraps of fabric that I had, and I cut them even thinner, and I just positioned them out and about. Let me get some of these cut down a little bit. You know, when they're cut really thin, then they'll maneuver better. Okay. Some you might even, if they'll tear, just go ahead and tear them. You know, put them on there. I had a whole wad of these to start with. You could do yarns, threads. You can do, the more colorful your pieces, of course, the more color we'll have, but just really sliver them up there and give them, you know, position them around. I don't know whether that'll tear or not, but let's try it. No, it's not going to tear in that direction, so we'll just finish cutting them. Okay. Take it off here for right now. Okay, let's get the blue one. Slivers, 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 slivers. Okay. Now, what's a good idea if you have a tub of threads. Whoops, I forgot this one. Let's go ahead and use him since we got him out here. Let's put him down. Okay, we got us some strings. Now, you could take just a few of your little threads and lay it on top. And isn't that pretty already? I love it. I love it. And then let's see, take where's you, if you have something that's it can be printed on fabric or paper, either one. I have some printed on fabric. Let me see if I can find those real quick. Yes, here they are. Let me just get a small one here. Now this is printed on it's printed, put through my printer, and what I did was I put the fabric on a full sheet of sticker paper, so when I pull the paper off the back of this, it'll just be the piece itself. But you could take anything, whether this one's done in paper, this one's done in fabric, and what I would do first is spread this out really good, try to cover up most of the batting. It doesn't have to all be covered. Then I'd zigzag up and down and get that down really good. Then I'd take this and get it positioned where I want it, and I would come in and sew that on. Then I would take the whole piece when I'm done with it, put it on top of my little piece of cardstock that I cut that was smaller than the edge, like that. I would put it on there like that, and then I would sew all that on really good. Okay, so this is sewn, then this is sewn, and then the whole thing is sewn to this card right here so that it's one piece, just like this is right here. And then when you get ready, take a piece that's a little bit bigger than this piece right here. And I do mean just a small bit bigger because you don't want it to be overwhelming. Okay. So just cut it a little bit bigger. Again, nothing perfect. This is all raggy. But, and we have this. And now we have this. And if this were already all sewn, And then we could put it down on that and sew it down really good. And then we would have a piece of cardstock on the back where all our stitching is showing. And then we could take it and we could glue that onto the front. And that creates the finished piece, okay? So it's really simple. We have the cardstock that cuts a little smaller than our fold over. We have a piece of fabric that's cut a little bigger than the smaller piece. Well, I have a piece of batting that I use, but you wouldn't have to use the batting. You could put this straight onto this if you wanted to. But I like it. And I put that on there. And whatever embellishment I want to put on it like that. Then I put that on there. And then I sew it all down to the card. Okay. And then when I'm done, I take it and I glue that onto the top of that. And so that creates my fold over. I hope that's as clear as mud. You know, it's just, it's not hard at all, and you probably have an easier system than I do, but you can figure out how that works. But that way, by creating it on this extra piece of card, and by creating this little piece of fabric that's bigger than that card, it doesn't show. So when it's on here, you don't know that there's another whole card here. It's glued on. It's covered by this piece of fabric in the background, okay? But inside you don't see any stitching or anything, so that's really nice. And your embellishment pieces are out here. And I did it all on the sewing machine, but it could be done by hand. Even sewing onto the cardstock can be done by needle and thread. So if you don't have a sewing machine and you like this idea and you want to make it, if you got a needle and a thread, you can create it yourself too. Okay, I love this. I think that is something that a person could put in their favorite book, Bible, notebook, whatever journal, whatever they use, and they would always be able to have a small item full of stitches that represent hugs, that reminds them of how much they are cared about. And it's very comforting. All righty, I hope you try that one. It's easy and it's doable, and it's just using up scraps. So till next time, let's all stay happy in Hugs and Stitches.